Hey, hey, it is your resident fairy godmother, Tamara Angela. And I wanted to share some new things that we are doing in my Patreon community. Typically, there are we're keeping all of the tiers that exist. There are 4 tiers. So we'll talk about those tiers in a second. But typically, there is mental health information and information on astrology that helps to kind of give you a little bit of a checks and balances. So every once in a while, just to kind of shake it up and keep things interesting and give you guys something new. I add some different offerings. So we're going to go through each one of the tiers. For those of you who have been rocking with me for a minute, because there are several of you who've been here for a while, and I totally appreciate you guys. So I always want to kind of bring you a little something new to mix it up. And then for those of you who have been wanting to possibly join the Patreon, or maybe didn't even know that the Patreon existed, I wanted to give you guys some information on those different tiers and also introduce to you love scopes and moon scopes. So we are going to start out talking about the Patreon tiers. So I'm going to kind of share the screen here so you guys can see the different tiers. So the first tier, well, tier 4, we're going to kind of work backwards. So first of all, you can be in the Patreon community and you can be there for free. When you're there for free, you're able to just access some of the general posts that are posted in the Patreon community. Those posts are going to be posts that will show up on my love blog or maybe on my Facebook page or in the Facebook women's group. Those are generalized posts that are pretty much free everywhere. But I put them in Patreon as well because I realize some people are just not on social media in that way. So the first tier is $7 a month. This gets you access to some general Patreon community posts. It gets you $5 off services with me. So if you book an intuitive guidance session, if you book any of my services, it'll get you $5 off of the services, and you'll be able to receive the general monthly insight and wisdom from Love Scopes and Moon Scopes. And we'll talk about what that looks like after we go through the tiers. The next tier, actually, that's not the next tier, but we'll go over this tier. Let's see, because I don't think I uploaded them in order, but that's okay. There we go. The next tier is tier 3. This is a really popular tier, the Lunar Moods tier. What you get with this tier is you get your monthly insight, intuitive insight. Each month, I'm going to DM you some intuitive wisdom and an outlook for the next 30 days. So you get a reading and a message that is specifically tailored to you. I do this message specifically for you, and you receive that monthly to your DM. Everybody right now, there's a setup to their DM, but occasionally I have some people who want me to email it to them. But basically, it's me and your DM dropping you a little wisdom and with a voice clip and a visual. You get $10 off of services if you're with this tier. You get $10 off of any of the services that you book with me. So if you book like a one-on-one session, if you book some ongoing shadow work, $10 off. This tier also gets you a discount on access to Healing Through Sacred Writing. That is a more therapeutic vehicle that and community that I have. It's a sacred container for you to learn to express yourself. And as I talk with my kids about working through big feelings, that's super helpful. So Healing Through Sacred Writing, you get a discount on access to that. If you are in the Patreon group, I repost the discount code often for the Lunar Moods tier. And then you're also going to receive general insight and wisdom as well from the Love Scopes and the Moon Scopes. The next tier, and this one is rather new, so I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about this tier. It's called Synergy. And so you're going to get that monthly intuitive insight sent to your DMs. You're going to get $10 off of services. You're going to get free access to Healing Through Sacred Writing. And you're going to get full access to the Moon Scopes and Love Scopes. And we're gonna have some astrology and intuitive chats that have deeper insights. So you're gonna get access to those. So you're gonna get full access to Moon Scopes, Love Scopes, those intuitive chats, and then you're gonna get free access to Healing Through Sacred Writing. And then the last tier is Stardust. This one is a pretty popular tier as well. So once again, you're going to get that monthly intuitive insight sent to your DM, $15 off services. So if you're booking anything with me, whether it's, any of the service items on my service menu, you get $15 off. You're going to get free access to Healing Through Sacred Writing. You're going to get access to the full access to Moon Scopes and Love Scopes. And you're also going to get full access to the astrology and intuitive chats that I post. But you're also going to get a quarterly membership box that has goodies that I handpick that help support your healing journey. Now, with those quarterly membership boxes, what I typically do is first quarter is January through March. That box ships in April. Second quarter is April through June. That box ships in July. So you'll see me ship after the quarter. So that's a little bit about the actual tiers that we have for Patreon. So if you're interested, you guys can also move in between the tiers as well. Like, you don't have to stay on a specific tier. So like, for instance, let's say, because I'm always trying to do things that work with your coins, right? So if there's a month where you need to just kind of step down for a second because your budget doesn't allow for the full thing, that's why we have the Alchemy tier. $7 a month, you're in there. If you know for the next quarter you need to slide out some extra money, you can go from Stardust to Synergy, or from Stardust to Lunar Moods, because you don't want to, lose getting your reading every month. And let me say this: when you do intuitive insights or readings with me, a one-on-one session is $105 for a 45-minute session. Sometimes I have 30-minute sessions, and those are usually around $88. If I just send you a message, an intuitive insight message, those are usually around $30 to $40. And so being able to get all of those things plus the message sent every month, like, the Patreon is a good value. And one of the things I hear a lot of the community members say is that it's like, oh, wait, you sent me this message right on time. Like, it's on point. This is going to have me focused for the rest of the month. And so that is a huge value that a lot of the community members let me know. And it gives you what I love is that Like I'm tapping in with everybody one-on-one for that month. Because a lot of times people will message me back and be like, oh girl, this is crazy, blah, 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 blah. And we kind of checking in. You get that space to kind of check in with me. Now, new things, love scopes and moonscapes. Let's talk about that. So I'm going to pull that up for you guys and kind of screen share there. 1 second. Okay. So this is going to be fun for us because I love astrology. I love mapping things out in that way. So moon scopes. Those of you who've been working with me for a while know that we typically talk about the new moon and the full moon. The new moon being a time of setting intentions, and the full moon being a time where you just kind of check in and say like, hey, I set this goal 2 weeks ago. Have I tapped into it? Have I gotten any resources for it? Or is it even a thing that I should continue to work on, right? Everybody knows when there's a full moon. It's very obvious to see. So even if you don't know anything about the new moon and you don't want to track the moon cycles, when you see a full moon for the month, you can just kind of check in with yourself and like, how have I been for the last 30 days? Have I, gathered the things that I want to do, the dreams and ideas that came to me? Did I start to organize them? Like there's a way that you can use just universal impulse energy to check in with yourself and keep you on track, right? And so we're going to use the new moon and the full moon as your soul's compass. This is something that you'll see me post a lot about in my groups if you're in the groups. And so we're going to use that time to learn to dig deeper into your emotions and really discover your power. This is a time of just being really focused, right? Because, and I say this all the time, we do our vision boards at the top of the year, but there's never really like this push halfway through the year to check back in. You just kind of get to the point where you're just like, oh gosh, like I feel like a failure because I didn't do any of those things. But the reality is life is happening in between January and July. And so you got to kind of revamp sometimes. And using the moon energy to check in with that helps you to revamp. You'll get affirmations with the activation for the month's focus. So there's going to be some affirmations that I'm going to give you, but we're going to map through the new moon and the full moon. Now, typically I do a post on the new moon energy, like a short post, like this is what the new moon is for the month. Here's where you focus. But Moonscopes is going to be more in depth. And so when you guys see the post, right, there's going to be a general post that kind of gives you like, hey, there's a new moon in Cancer this month. These are kind of the ideals. Here's the full moon in Sagittarius this month. These are the ideals, right? So those of you on certain tiers that get the general information, you guys are going to get that because that's kind of the stuff that I give to people and kind of talk about that kind of helps you guide. Now, when you're on the Synergy tier and the Stardust tier, we're going to have a more in-depth conversation that's going to be posted. If you guys make yourself available and we can coordinate, we can have live chats. But I find that a lot of people like to just kind of have me post things and they can come back and revisit at 2 a.m. when they have time and they're up and their mind is spinning. And I know that because that's when y'all text me back about the readings that I sent you and the intuitive messages I sent you. So Moonscopes is going to give you guys that deeper insight. We're going to go back to that. That's something that I was doing a while ago, but we kind of added some other things and people have been asking me to come back here. So we're going to be doing that with Moonscope. So it'll give you just a way to even use your own chart, right? So these are simple enough where even if you don't know your chart, you don't have your chart, you don't understand your chart, you're still going to be able to tap into the information that's given to you in moon scopes and use that to guide you. The other offering we have is love scopes. These are going to be fun. We're going to talk, we got to get back to talking love and relationships and how to, show compassion and empathy and things like that for people that we care about. And so love scopes. Let me pull this out a little bit. So we're using Venus energy, right? So we're going to tap into Venus each month and talk about, and hear what Venus has to say about our heart each month. So we're going to use Venus astrology insights for each Venus zodiac sign. So it would help you to know what your Venus sign is. Even if you don't understand your whole chart, just even being able to kind of Google that and look that up for yourself according to your birth time is going to help you understand the love scopes. You're going to get an affirmation. There's going to be a general affirmation with a love-focused insight, and there's going to be some love activation. So there's going to be some prompts that help you to like guide you based on what these love scopes say, right, for each month. So you get this like love horoscope each month. Now, what's going to be interesting about these, and this is something that we can, also kind of incorporate into the astrology live chats, is just talking about like where you are, where love and relationships are concerned and things like that, because I think it's a conversation that's worth having. So this is a good way for you to just constantly go back to your natal chart as well, and be able to, because one thing I did was I went back to my natal chart and just really looked at all of my Venus alignments and just how that affects the way that I see love and how it affects endeavors with relationships. So this can making sure that you read the love scopes. If you don't understand your natal chart, if you don't know your birth time, you'll still be able to gain a lot of information from this, because we're going to have that love activation insight where you can say, okay, Venus right now is in a transit in Taurus for the next month. What does that mean for me? For me, that means that I need to tap into my more luxurious side a little bit, and I need to indulge a little bit more. So these are going to be things that give you a love activation to help you to just kind of say, you know what, here's the little things I can do along the way on my journey. Because I think one of the things that's interesting is that people feel like their personal journey has to be so like in depth and like hardcore with everything, and that stuff has to be overly structured and you always got to be working on yourself. It's like, no, sometimes, you know what, maybe all you need to focus on this month is, showing a little bit more compassion to yourself and not being so hard on yourself. So if you find yourself just kind of having some negative self-talk this month, maybe the only thing you focus on is recognizing that, oh, you know what, girl, I just said that sounds real crazy. That sounds a little out of control. Let me reel it back in. And if that's all you do for the month, that's a lot. That's a lot of good to just kind of reframe and refocus. So we're going to have fun using astrology. These posts will go up. If you are on the free Patreon tier, that's fine. You will be able to unlock some of these posts. They will be paid posts. And so you will be able to unlock them. So say you're fine at the free level, or, maybe you're fine at the alchemy level, but here comes August and you want a little bit of insight on love, you can unlock the post, right? It's going to be a paid post. If you are in my women's group on Facebook and you're like, I need to kind of focus a little bit this month, and you want to unlock the the Moonscopes post, you can unlock that paid post. The key is I'm also opening up my Facebook group will remain just for women. The Patreon I'm opening up to having it be a little bit more co-ed, simply because we don't have community interaction in that way. We used to have the midweek frequency, but there's nothing that I do in the Facebook group that is not safe for it to be co-ed. There's nothing that I do in the group that's like, okay, this isn't safe for everybody to be here. And if there are those one-on-one conversations that need to be had, we will definitely have a space for women and a space for men, because I completely believe in that, because sometimes those are two separate conversations. But I want to be able to open the community up, because for years men have been asking me like, hey, are you speaking to us too? Because we hear you and we need that. And so I want there to be a space where men are able to quietly gather what they need for their personal journey, as quietly as the women have gathered those things as well. Plus, I'm kind of tired of the conversations that say, well, where are the men? What are they doing? Well, you know what? There's an offering that I have that will be self-guided, that will help them. And so I want to open that activation up to men as well. So hopefully you guys gathered some things. If you want to kind of change your tier at any time, please feel free to do so. You can move within the tiers without any issue. It's just that make sure that you understand billing happens at the top of the month through Patreon. I am not in control of any of the billing. I can't see any of your billing information. And so it's always better to kind of make those moves by the 30th of the month. So it's right at the top of the month, because they do bill between the 1st and the 5th. So thanks for joining me. If you guys have any questions, make sure, I'm going to put this in the chat because this is going to be visible, but I'm going to put the email address in the chat, and you guys can email me if you have any questions, or feel free to message me on Instagram or Facebook.